friends, I'm Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to share all of the books that I managed to read in September. I did make a September TBR list, so we're going to take a look at that real quick. I said I was going to read The Broken Girls, Not a Happy Family, The Final Girl Support Group, Never Knowing, The Night She Disappeared, The Patient, Brother, The Girl Next Door, and My Best Friend's Exorcism. Well, I did pretty good. I did manage to read some. There are a few I did not that I will be rolling over into maybe October, but now you know which ones I've read and which ones I haven't. And yeah, now let's go ahead and get into the books. Order of my September TBR, we're just going to go through the list and then I'll tell you things that I read off of my TBR list. So the first book I said I wanted to read is The Broken Girls by Simone St. James. And I read it and I rated it 3.5 stars. I really did enjoy this story. I couldn't really tell you why I didn't love it more, but I read this for Jessie's book club. Unfortunately, I was not able to read it before she had her live show, but I finished it like either the day after or 2 days after or something like that. So I still need to go back and completely watch that live show, but I enjoyed my time reading this. I definitely enjoyed it much more than The Sundown Motel. Two different timelines in Vermont. We have the 1950s and 2014, and one of the main journalists, Fiona, her sister Deb died 20 years earlier and her body was found at this school. And I don't know, it's just, there's kind of like creepy vibes and stuff like that. Like, I don't know if she ever believes that her sister like died the way, like the person that killed her sister, she's not sure that like the right person has been caught. And now she finds out that the school is being renovated and she's very uneasy about that. So she starts using her like journalistic like tools and figuring out why they're renovating the school, who these people are, and all of that. And the story just kind of unravels from there. What I really liked is that the two timelines did feel very different. So like I said, in the 2014, we're following the journalist Fiona. And then in the past timeline, we're following four friends as they are at this school and just their friendship. I guess they're all like roommates. But I just loved the school, and I would almost like an entire book about that, like more dark academia vibes, and just more of their stories, because like one of the coolest things is they had these like really weird teachers that they like didn't like or whatever, and they would leave notes in their textbooks about different teachers, about different students, about this ghost, about this urban legend, and it would be passed down generation after generation. And I just loved that. So I liked the 1950s, but I also liked the 2014 timeline. The ending wasn't like so shocking or anything like that. And I think I have reviews of like everything that I've read. So if you want more of my in-depth thoughts, definitely check out my Goodreads or my story graph. They're both linked in the description box of all of my videos. But yeah, this one, it's like I really did enjoy it and I look back on it very fondly, but there was just something missing like for my enjoyment to rate it any higher than 3.5 stars. Not a Happy Family by 𝒎𝒊𝒏𝒌𝒔, and I was reading this for the book club that I'm a part of, and I did enjoy this one. I ended up rating it a 3 stars. There were definitely parts about it that I liked and parts that I didn't. That's like basically what a 3-star means to me. In this one, you have 3 siblings that seem reluctant to go to their parents' house for Easter dinner, but they go, and you're not sure why at first, like why maybe they don't get along with their parents or something's going on. So they go to Easter dinner, their dad's a jerk, they all leave, and then next thing you know, the like nanny slash housekeeper finds both of the parents murdered in their home. And you know, it seems like all of the siblings had a reason or like a motive to kill the parents, but none of them are obviously confessing to the murder, and you're just trying to find out like who done it, who killed the parents, you know, what's going on with the siblings. And there's like other side characters as well. There's a lot of characters in this one, and I think like in the first 20 pages I was literally taking notes on like all of the characters so I wouldn't get them mixed up, and there was still still like a time period after that where I would from time to time, but there's like money involved, so like an inheritance and stuff like that. But it seems like every single sibling has a motive, and they start like second guessing each other and stuff like that. So it's pretty interesting, but I don't know, it just didn't offer that like thrills. I mean, in this type of book, there's only like so many people like it could have been. And I don't think that this is like the hardest mystery to figure out. There's a couple of things in here that really lead you to suspect someone, or it did for me. And yeah, I was able to figure it out, but I still enjoyed my time with it. So I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. The next book I said I wanted to read was The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. I wanted to read this for my podcast, Talk Bookish to Me. Jessie from Reading with Jess and I are going to be doing a discussion on October 25th on the podcast, and my podcast links are linked in the description box as always. I'm not going to tell you my thoughts, but I did get around to reading this, which I'm really happy that I did. Yeah, it's a final girls like kind of trope. You have this group of women that are all final girls from different things, and they meet at this support group, and they've been doing it for like 16 years, and then something happens at the very beginning and kind of like it hits the fan, and it's just kind of like a wild ride from there. But yeah, go ahead and tune into that discussion. There is not a review linked for that, because I definitely want you guys to tune into the discussion on October 25th with me and Jess as we chat about our thoughts, and there's gonna be like some fun things thrown in as well. I also wanted to continue in my Ksevy Stevens like a reading vlog series, so I tried Never Knowing, and this one was like pretty chunky. I did do a whole reading vlog, you know, for this book. So if you want more of my in-depth thoughts, definitely check that out. But all I'm going to say is I was really let down by this one. The premise sounds really cool, but it just didn't execute it very well. And it was extremely long for what it did. It just felt like it dragged on and on and on, and it was like quite repetitive. So I ended up rating this one 2 out of 5 stars. This is about basically a woman that has always searched for her mother because she was like adopted, and she finally tracks down her mom, and then she hires a private investigator, and then she finds out that her father is this like notorious campsite killer. And yeah, things just get really crazy from there. And the cops in this were like so unbelievable. Like, I don't know. I guess that was like my biggest fault, is it was just like so unbelievable. It dragged on, and I just wanted them to do something. You know, I felt like they knew what they needed to do, but like nothing was being done. I was just screaming at them, like, get off the couch and go do something, you know? So yeah, this was a little frustrating, but I am not deterred. I'm definitely going to continue reading Ksevy Stevens. I have all of her books, so I'm excited. Alright, I got sent a copy of Lisa Jewell's new book, The Night She Disappeared. This one went on sale on the 7th of September, and I'm so happy they sent me an early art copy. Thank you so much, Adria, for sending me an early copy. Keep me on that list because I want to continue receiving her books. I was so pleasantly surprised by this. It's kind of like a slower mystery, and it does seem like there's a lot going on, but I really, really enjoyed this one. I rated it 4 stars. I did do a Lisa Jewell reading vlog this month, so you can watch me read this and share all of my thoughts and my feelings. But it's about this man and this woman that move, you know, to this like private school. The man's teaching at this private school, but there's like houses for faculty like on property, and so she moves there with this guy, and she moves into the house. There's this sign that's like dig here, and she digs something out, and then that kind of leads her on like this wild goose chase. Yeah, it's very, very interesting. Good mystery, but it is slower paced, so keep that in mind, but highly recommend. Oh my gosh, you guys, of course, I forgot to mention these books. I was in such a rush to film my wrap up that I forgot that I read these 3 books as well in the month of September, starting with The Girls in the Garden. I rated it 3 stars. It was in that Lisa Jewell reading vlog if you want more of my thoughts. But basically, I thought it had too many characters. It was hard picturing the 3-acre garden that was specific to these particular families. memories, and switching between a child narrator and an adult narrator was jarring and unnecessary, and I think the entire book could have worked just from Pip's POV. And then I left off The Girls' Weekend and The Sanatorium, which I also read. All of these books came from the library, so I didn't have them in my physical book stack. And for some reason, I didn't pay attention to my bullet journal where I wrote down all of these books. I apologize. The Girls' Weekend, I rated 3 stars, and The Sanatorium, I rated 2 stars. I do have a reading vlog coming soon, reading these 2 books as well as The Broken Girls. So that's coming soon, but just for brief thoughts. For The Girls' Weekend, it was fun. It was that classic whodunit with not much new added. If you've read this premise before, like I have, and you enjoyed these isolated setting stories, you will probably enjoy this one as well. It's basically a story where 5 friends meet up and one is killed or goes missing, and everyone has a motive, and then you have to try to figure out who done it and all of that. Our 5 friends in this novel are from they met up in college, and over the years tensions have built up for various reasons, and the hostess Sadie goes missing the morning after this party where really nobody has any memories of what happened. So yeah, it's just that classic whodunit story, and I enjoyed it, but it wasn't anything groundbreaking for me. The Sanatorium, on the other hand, yeah, I wasn't as impressed with this one. I gave it 2 stars. I am continuously seeking locked room mysteries and isolated thrillers with last minute twists. However, this one just left me bored and shrugging my shoulders. This one was also pretty long. It was 390 pages, which just didn't work for me. I mean, it could have been 300 pages, and I think it would have felt a little bit more action-packed and edge of your seat tense. But this one, the main character, she's a detective, but she's not, it's not I don't know, she's not on the job. She's going to her brother's wedding in this sanatorium that has been turned into this luxury hotel. And we find out that she is kind of flawed, both mentally and physically, because of things that happened in her past and this recent case she had worked on and stuff like that. But because of that, I felt like any clues that she overlooked, I was supposed to understand as the reader, oh, maybe, she didn't catch that because she's struggling right now. And I also just didn't care what was happening. I never felt the gravity of her loss or understood why she didn't demand more answers sooner. And I thought the atmosphere was excellent. I enjoyed that the chapters were short, but the actual whodunit and why they did what they did seemed so implausible to me. I will say that if the premise still interests you, definitely pick it up during the cold, snowy days of winter, because I think it would really fit the vibe of the book. Anyway, I'm sorry for forgetting these in the initial wrap up, and you're having to just watch this boring screen to hear me talk about these books. I will try to do better in the future because I have been borrowing more books from my library, and because of the time of reading them and returning them and all of that, I don't have the physical copies. So I will try to be better about that in the future. By Jasper To, and I read it and I enjoyed it, and I rated it 4 out of 5 stars. It's short. There's not really much I can say other than it follows this psychotherapist. They're writing these blog posts on these forums or something about this case that happened at this hospital that he worked at. And it's just telling about this patient that was, I think they were 6. Yeah, they were admitted to the hospital when they were 6, and now they're in their 40s or something like that. And they don't understand why that patient has been in there that amount of time. and like who's paying for this, and like they're going through their file and they just find really weird stuff and they think that like maybe they can solve and figure out what's wrong with this patient. And yeah, it just kind of goes from there. The only thing is like I am new to the horror genre, and there were like horrifying, I love like mental hospitals, asylums, things like that. So I was really just intrigued by that, but there was just a part at the end that like maybe is normal for the horror genre, but I just don't really like kind of unbelievable things like that. So I don't know. I didn't really like the ending, or it wasn't like the ending, but it was like a little bit before that, like what is going on with the patient or whatever. I didn't really like that part, but everything else was really, really great. And it's so short. So if you're wondering, go ahead, pick it up. If it sounds interesting, try it out, see what you think. But I really enjoyed it and rated it 4 out of 5 stars. So I did DNF 2 books. I tried to do like a summary type blog. I DNF'd Where the Truth Lies. I just couldn't get into the writing. And then the friendship list just seemed very like, I don't know, cliche. Yeah, so I DNF'd those, so I'm getting rid of those. Ones that I finished, 2 Truths and a Lie, that's the book that I ended up reading when I was trying to read all 3 of these. I read this, it was good, it was funny, it was just pretty basic. I rated it 3 out of 5 stars, but it's about these like rich, like housewives, and just the drama that unfolds over the summer. So that was that one. I also read The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell, which I read with the other Lisa Jewell book, and I rated this 4 out of 5 stars, and I think I liked this one more. Yeah, this was just really, really intriguing. After her 25th birthday, the main character, Libby, receives like this letter or something like that that says like, this inheritance is yours. This was the house that you were found in when you were a baby. And she kind of starts like, she goes back to the house, and then she, you know, wonders like what happened to her parents, what happened to her siblings, and kind of just everything unfolds from there. It does have very, 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 very light cultish vibes, because what happens is back when, you know, you kind of flash back to like when our parents were alive and stuff, they start letting people move in, and then it kind of becomes this like commune of sort, and then like how their parents were before that happened and how their parents were after that happened kind of changed, and there was like new rules implemented and stuff like that. So I thought it was very interesting. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I rated it 4 out of 5 stars. And then the last book that I read is Sunny Rolls the Dice by Jennifer and Matthew Holm, and this is that middle grade graphic novel series that I am absolutely adoring. It's so cute, so colorful. I love Sunny. I love the 1970s setting. It's set in Pennsylvania. It follows this young girl, Sunny, as she is just living life, coming of age, meeting new friends, discovering things as a young girl, young woman. And her family sent the brother away because he was having issues. And now she's trying to navigate middle school, you know, kind of all by herself. And in this one, she teams up with some boys in the neighborhood and her friend Deb, and they start playing Dungeons and Dragons, and just that game and some of the, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Some of the messages? No, that's not the word I'm looking for. But some of the things she learns playing Dungeons and Dragons kind of translates to her real life. I ended up rating this one 4 out of 5 stars because I think it was just missing that little extra oomph that I wanted. It was missing like, I don't know, it didn't kind of wrap up everything the way I wanted it to. Well, not really that I wanted to. It just didn't wrap up everything. So yeah, I went with 4 stars instead of 5 stars. But oh my gosh, guys, this is such a cute middle grade graphic novel series. Highly recommend you check it out if you're into that thing. It's my September wrap up. I do not plan to do an October TBR just because I'm playing a game in my book club, like a TBR challenge game. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's a wild ride and I'm just so excited about it. So I have no idea what I'm actually going to end up reading in October. I do have some hopefuls, but I just don't know if they're going to happen. So I'm just going to skip making a TBR this month. but I will be back at the end of the month to tell you what I ended up reading, and I do have some fun videos planned, so hopefully I can make them happen. Anyway, I hope you all have a great spooky season, and I'll see you in the next video very soon, guys. Bye.